Hello, everyone, and welcome to Devils United. This is the preview for Manchester United versus Brighton. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Devils United for another preview. I've got Chloe and I have got Andy. Chloe, how are you?
I'm good, Maisy. Thank you for having me back.
It's a pleasure to have you on always, Chloe. And Andy, how are you?
I'm good. Good to be back on with you.
Always a pleasure to come onto the channel with you and have a great conversation. Nyla, my dad, is already in the chat. Hello to you both. I hope you're well. So we'll start with the game actually at Old Trafford because, Andy, you've experienced your first Old Trafford day. How did you find it?
Well, I've not only I've not only been there seeing it. I literally got the T-shirt. So as you can see, this was designed by a friend of both our channels, which is obviously Namrata, and it has a really cool sort of I was there, if you can see it, and the date at Old Trafford, which was great. No, it was fantastic. I mean, I wondered what I would feel because I'm a massive fan of the women's game, but obviously I haven't got that men's fan experience. But I'd say that every sort of molecule of that place just oozes history, and it was fantastic to be there, and it was a really good day. And apart from some ruckus we had at the beginning with the pub, the manager not really understanding that it was a match day, and the game was good as well. But it was a fantastic day. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, Niall loves your shirt as well, which is great. Chloe, how did you find Old Trafford as well? Because
you got a T-shirt as well, but you're not wearing it.
I know. I haven't got no T-shirt though, so it looks like you're the odd one out here today, Andy. But Chloe, it was your first experience actually as a woman supporter coming to Old Trafford. So how did you find that?
I found it really good. It was a great experience for the women's team. Obviously, I've been before to watch the men, and I would say that even though we didn't have as many fans there as the men, we sure as hell made it feel like we had a full-on stadium. Like, the crowd was incredible, not just from our section, but from the entire crowd. You could hear them, and like they would join in with our songs, with the songs that we did, and like Candy said, I've got the T-shirt as well, and it was designed by a good friend of all of ours, and to have that as a little memento from that day, it's very special, and you just don't know if it's going to happen again next season. You don't know if it's just a one-off, which fingers crossed it isn't. And especially with it coming up to the Euros, and the first game of the Euros is going to be at Old Trafford. It's just a full-on new experience for everyone, and I think it's just a great way to show the women's team, and it was definitely a great day. I'm gutted you weren't there though, Maze.
Yeah. I'm gutted as well. I didn't make it, but I'm actually at the England versus Austria game in Old Trafford, so I'm absolutely looking forward to that. Another Old Trafford day. I actually haven't watched a game at Old Trafford for a couple of years now, so I'm quite looking forward to experiencing Old Trafford all over again and watching actually the women's football rather than the men's football. So that's going to be a whole new experience for me as well. My Queen is in the chat. Hello to you. I hope you're well. So we've got Brighton at the weekend. When we did actually play Brighton last, it was a very good win. And that was, for me, actually the turning point of Matt Skinner. Matt, as we will say, Skinner ball has come to real life ball. But, Chloe, how do you think Matt Skinner's going to come into this game? Do you think he's going to do the exact same as what he done the previous game at Brighton?
Yeah, against Brighton, I can see it happening because it's going to be near the same formation. Obviously, unfortunately, we won't have Mannion, and I think we're all gutted about that, and it's going to be a big loss for us. So hopefully, with Hayley Ladd being back and being in centre back, in which she played really well in against Everton, I think she was one of our best players in that game, especially in that role. And like we know, she played in that role as well as an international duty. But to see it actually on club duty, it was very special. And you can see how, if we don't have a centre back, how she can fit into that role, and we don't need a DM because she will play as that as well as a centre back. So as long as we've got the players fit, as long as we start how we started against Everton and how we did start like against Brighton, like you said, it was a fantastic game. And it was also, like you said, the turning point of Mark Skinner. And you could see how focused he was in that game and how much he rated all the players and how much he put into that game. And I think if he can do the same again and we can win again, that just is another 3 points for us in the terms of getting that Champions League spot. And I think as well with if we win and if we can progress a bit further and get that goal difference up, it's going to be hard for City to catch. But they've still got a game in hand. So that's what we've got to think of. So they've still got a game in hand. They've got goal. I can't remember what the goal difference is, but we've just got to make sure we keep above what City's is and not concede. I know obviously it's hard, but we make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. But if we can keep as many clean sheets as possible, or at least if we do let one in, as long as we score another one to equal it, I think that's the main point of staying above that goal difference and staying in touch of third place. But yeah, what do you think, Andy?
Well, the problem is, looking at it, is that City have got the 2 punching bags of the WSL left in their run-in. They've got Birmingham and they've got Leicester, or as I like to call them, those that lost 9-0 at the weekend. So we've got a problem in the sense of goal difference. So we are really going to have to capitalise, and it's not natural for Skinner. He likes to basically just about win the game, not because he's cocky. I just don't think it's in him to just be pushing and try and get the goals when you get to a certain point. Obviously, just looking at the table now, and as you say, City have a game in hand on us, but we played 18 and I've got 35 points. Whereas City have played 17 and got 32 points. So if they win their game in hand, which is against Birmingham, so I'm going to say when they win their game in hand, the goal difference at the minute is actually only 4 goals. So it's plus 17 for Man City and plus 21 for Man United. So we've really got to score, I would say, at least three goals each game to try and mitigate what's going to happen. Now, obviously, anyone might be saying, well, hang on a minute, Birmingham did pull a fast one on Arsenal, but I was trying to work it out today. It's either this week or next week that they're officially down, so their heads are going to go, and they're a relegated team. So I don't think you're going to get that fight back or that one-off scenario that they had against Arsenal when they had a chance of staying up. So we can only control what we control. Against Brighton, it depends which Brighton team turns up. Sometimes they're almost as bad as Leicester. Other times they've took over the top 3, and for a long time they were pushing third place. But I think if we can obviously win, we need to win all 4 games that are left. I mean, it depresses me that there's only 4 games left. It sounds such a short number considering we're still technically in March tonight. But obviously we really, really hope Mark listens to this. we really, really need to hammer the goals in to the point where Carla Ward's crying. We literally need to score as many as we can against Villa, and obviously get the win against West Ham, and then pray to God we can get a result against Chelsea.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
A few more people has entered the chat as well. Hello to Chris, hello to Jordan, Charlie, and Luca. I hope you're all well. I remember the last time we played Brighton, which was actually at their ground. It was actually us and them who was actually battling for the top three because they actually played extremely well, and they've just kind of gone. No, let's just say they've just gone absolutely awful. These couple of games, you look at them and you think, do you get what I mean? Like, you look at it, this is absolutely terrible football. Because if you're looking at Brighton's record in itself, they got battered 4-0 off Tottenham. Then they won the week after 4-1 against Reading. They're a very inconsistent team. They're consistently inconsistent, let's just say, at this moment in time. And that's what I would actually describe Brighton as, looking at their recent records, if you do agree with that, Ander.
I mean, to be honest, they're kind of a bit like us last season in the sense of they probably have the ability to be better than they are, but then they don't have the belief and they falter, and they've not really had much strength pushed into them. I mean, I remember being Brighton for a start. I was there. I might have mentioned a few times that I was up in the middle of the night to get down there, and I like Brighton as a city, but essentially as a team, I mean, they're solidly the 4th, 5th place team in the WSL, but then they act like us again. Sometimes they can act like the 10th place team or the 2nd or the 1st place team, depending on what happens there. I mean, I think to be honest, we've got good momentum coming from Old Trafford. I might be a bit controversial. Wow, that's a surprise, isn't it? I mean, if I was Mark Skinner, I'd be firing up some of our forwards and say, look, Brunny, darling, we signed you to score stuff. You've not scored yet. Now, obviously, I know she's got the pedigree. I know she's on fire for various other teams. That's all well and done. She's not scored yet. So I would start using, some of those, come on, show me why I want to keep you at the end of end of the year. Martha Thomas has been a bit hot and cold, but again, he's been quite good the last few games. So I'd want them fired up. And it's kind of hard after a win because you almost want to, that's why this term is bounce back, isn't it? When you lose, we basically can't lose, but we want bounce back performances in the next 4 games. At the end of the day, there's a few players we've got opportunities to exercise options on. And depending on the type of player, I think, some of them, like Ona, we need to exercise the option on, say, yesterday. And on others, you might want to use that as a bit of a, well, if you want to play here next season, show me why I should keep you. And we really need to push and push and push to get that top 3. I mean, look at what happened last night. 91,553 people in the new camp. Paris Saint-Germain, it was rocking. We deserve that, and it's so bloody close. We can literally smell it. We just got to get over the line.
Mm-hmm. Karen, hello to you. Thank you for tuning in. It was good. I actually thought it was good that you did mention Brun there, because I do feel like Brun needs to get this goal because she has played against the big 3. And then I think them kind of games are absolutely hard for her to get a goal from, knowing how narrow they are. You need to have your narrow players. You need the likes of Martha Thomas playing. You can't have Russo playing on the right. You need Hansen playing. And of course, there was them issues there. Then Brun got injured.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of issues there for me. But I think that ideally she could have come on a lot earlier than what she actually did at Old Trafford.
Yep.
Just as Karen said there, Brun needs more minutes, and I completely agree with that 100%. She does need minutes, because when we actually seen her on near to the end of the game, she used her striker instincts, and she actually shot knowing that she knew where the goalkeeper was, and that is the kind of striker you want to use their instincts. Think, right, that's it. I'm going to take this shot, see where it goes. What do you think about Brun, Chloe? Do you feel like she needs more minutes? Do you feel like this could be a game at last?
Yeah, I completely agree. Like, I do think she needs more minutes within the game. We always say that you can't bring on an impact player for 5 minutes because they're not going to impact. You've got to bring them on with 60 minutes, 65, 70. Give them at least 20 minutes to impact that game, because like you said, that shot from where she was at Old Trafford, and it was so close to being a goal.
If the goalkeeper did touch it for me, I think it would have gone in.
Yeah, exactly.
It would have gone in right at the bottom corner.
Yeah, exactly. I think it would have, but she would have also had more chances within that game.
Yeah.
And I think instead of just bringing on certain players for 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, bring them impact subs on when needed, and bring them on early in the game. But I think Brun is also good at when she starts the game. I think her and Russo work together and work well. And I think as well, if Brun does start, she's going to show what she is going to bring to this team. And we've always been shouting out for a forward to show us that. Yes, we've got Russo, and yes, we've got Turner and Martha Thomas, but we've also now got Brun, who is a full-on striker and who's played in the best teams, who's played in the Champions League, who knows what is needed in the Champions League. And in her head, is she thinking, am I going to sign a permanent contract here? Am I going to stay at Lyon? Or am I going to leave Lyon and go somewhere else, which isn't United, because of the game time I'm getting and because of the minutes I'm playing? And it might not just be, I know her agent said she likes to score and it's all about scoring. But for Brun, is it all about scoring? Is it about that she's wanted at the team? Like, she's not a bench player, as we all say, and she was a bench player at Lyon.
Yeah,
she weren't playing. This is the whole reason why we've got her, because she was on the bench. She wasn't getting played, and now we're seeing her coming off the bench. So for me, I think her impact is starting and getting them minutes and playing a full 90, playing 80, 85 minutes, and showing us what she can do from start to finish, instead of coming off the bench and showing us what she can do for 15, 10, 5 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind when you get a sub at 70, 80 minutes. What really winds me up is the 88-minute and 20-odd second thing that Skinner does, which I swear to God is the most pointless thing in the world. I mean,
it's a wasting time kind of substitute. Do you like a substitute you just want to put on just to waste that little bit of time?
I mean, to be fair, we were just jumping back to Old Trafford for a bit. That we were knackered, absolutely knackered.
Yeah.
That pitch is big. And Hannah Blundell, who I've criticised in the past, ran her socks off. Literally Duracell bunny, flashing red at the end of that game, totally and utterly knackered. And and that was the thing. And I think maybe Skinner's possibly got to steady the ship a bit, because he has been firefighting with the fact we basically needed a competition to work out who's going to play in defence, because of the amount of injuries that we've had. So hopefully, if our defence is pretty set for Sunday, I know we're still pretty light, then he can start focusing on other bits. But I think the problem with Skinner is that, and I like the guy, I do. I'm really impressed by a lot of his
no longer unreliable boyfriend.
No, well, I don't know what he is now. But I think because I love the pod that he did, and I got to see them not more than man and all this kind of jazz. But I think the guy needs to realise, and I will, almost want to say this directly to camera, is, making a sub doesn't mean you failed, Mark. It doesn't mean that you should have put them in there in the first place, because I swear to God, that's what he seems to think in the back of his head. It's an element of additional tactics, especially in the women's game, and I hear in the men's from next season, 5 substitutes allowed. It becomes more of a chess match. You're right. You would possibly always leave one in case you get a strange injury. But I would say every single team should be at least using 4 substitutes in most games for tactical reasons, if they can, if they've got people on the bench. Whereas I swear to God, like, if Skinner pulls one of them off to put Bo Risa on, he's like, he's almost like saying, "Oh, that I should have started her." Now, irrespective of should or you shouldn't, I don't care at this point. It's a how do I influence the game? What tools have I got to get the win? Because if we do miss out on Champions League, and I think it won't, I think it won't be Skinner's fault. I think we're only so close, partly because of how good he is as a manager. But I can just see the conversation now. Oh, it's bitterly disappointing, but we've learned so much as a group of players, and I think next season, blah blah. Don't care, mate. I'll do that. We'll sort it out in summer. Let's. This is still in our hands at the minute. And I say, we need to be ruthless. We need to treat it as 4 cup finals. We've actually only got 2 home games left. Sunday and West Ham at home. Villa's away and Chelsea's away. So, and there's a big gap in between called England. So it's a difficult running.
Yeah, I completely agree. And Reese is in the chat. So hello to you, Reese. I hope you're well. And he's literally said exactly what Chloe said. Impact players need 20, 30 minutes. And especially when you have got them 5 substitutes, unlike the men's games, you can use that. You've got literally near enough half your squad, starting 11, who you can substitute on and off. And if you have an injury, that doesn't make as much difference compared to having the 3 substitutes. And just as he said here as well, the very late period, and then you expect them to make a big, massive impact, even though they're only playing for the 88 minutes. And it's not fair for a player's development, especially when you do look at the likes of Fuso, who's only very young, and she's coming on the 88th minute. It's not exactly fair for me, and it's not good for a development neither. And that's going to be the exact same with Brun. She could potentially think, why did I come if I'm just going to be used there as a substitute? I might as well just be a better player at Lyon. Yeah. Realistically. But now I've got a question here regarding the Champions League game, because there was 2 Champions League games in yesterday, which was, of course, Barcelona, which we'll probably touch on a little bit because all 3 of us actually quite like watching Barcelona. Not the men's, we like watching Barcelona women's, but absolutely brilliant. And that finished 5-2. Record there, as just Andy touched on before at Camp Nou, of over 90,000 people attending the game. But Chloe, I know you're a big Barcelona fan, so what did you think about the game?
Well, what can you say with 91,553 there? Like, it's an incredible show for the women. And I know a few of the women's, like, I know a few of the players that don't play for Barca who have retweeted the attendance and who have gone, like, if you, like, this is what happens when a club puts in the effort for a team, and this is what happens when a club invests in a team. And to see players put that and to see fans put that, it just shows how much Barca has moved on. So, for instance, like Melanie, she's done Barca, she's played for them for 500 games. She's the longest serving player at Barca, and that's including the men. And she's gone from them being so low down, like not winning anything, not doing, like not getting as far, to them now. She's finally won her first Champions League, the treble, hopefully the quadruple coming up with the Champions League and the Copa del Reina that they need to win as well. But to see all of them and to see all them fans just there for that Barca match and the Barca and Real Madrid match, and to support the women's team, and then to also see 2 legends of Barca, Xavi and Carlos Pulo, being there to support the women's team. Them 2 are the biggest supporters in the women's game. You don't see, like, we've got David De Gea who promotes a lot of stuff for us, and what he did for Mary for Old Trafford, that was amazing. But for me, why was none of the men's players who weren't on international duty there at Old Trafford?
They could have been. because a lot of the players were actually playing for their countries. You look at the likes of Jesse Lingard, for instance.
Yeah, exactly. And them the two players that were at Barca yesterday, they don't play anymore, but they're still there showing their support for the women's team. And I think the more them players go to a women's match and show the men's fans what it's like at a women's game, then it's gonna improve that. And I think we can sell out Old Trafford eventually, but it's gonna have to gain more fans, more followers, and more support. And we finally got there in showing that at the new camp. And Barca deserve it after everything they've been through. Last year with getting the treble and them not playing in front of fans, them not allowing, when they won the Champions League, they weren't even allowed their families at the Champions League final. So for them to be able to now play at the new camp and then to hopefully play the final in Juventus' stadium and have their families and friends there, it's going to be incredible. But it needs to happen not just at one stadium, it needs to happen to everywhere. They need to start selling out a lot more in the big stadiums for me.
Yeah, I agree. And there could have been more for the Manchester United team, the men's team in particular, to do to support the women's team, because we only really seen De Gea and Rashford who promoted
Maguire as well.
Maguire promoted it. I don't follow Maguire, so I love my hands up. I didn't see it.
Yeah, he promoted it on I think he did on his Instagram story or on something.
Well done, Maguire. Well done, Maguire. That's all I can say. But a few more people's entered the chat there as well. Hello there to It's a Couple's Thing. Hello there to Rich. Hello to Kai, and hello to Nippon. Andy, what did you think about the Barcelona game as well?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just jump in on that. I mean, yeah, it's brilliant. I mean, it was fantastic to see, because not only that, it was our kind of women's football. The reason why I like watching Barca is because they're essentially where we can be and where we should be, and the reason why, there's some interesting tweets that were going around. There was 91,553 people there last night. It wasn't for a teddy bear's picnic. It wasn't to hang around to hold each other and sing songs. It was El Clasico with women players. It was the hatred that you get between Real Madrid and Barcelona. It was, loud noise. It was singing their name. It was being, signs of electric banging the drum and that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, that was so cool.
That was absolutely lit. And yeah, they got, Barca supported them and promoted them. I mean, I agree completely. It would be nice to see the rest of the men team in United to have gone to Old Trafford. Yeah, I mean, on Sunday, but it does make you wonder, what are these guys scared of? Do they need the big men to show that it's okay to go to a women's game? Is that what the deal is? Is that where we are in 2022? It's okay, you can enjoy it. Look, I'm David De Gea and I'm enjoying it. Or look, I'm Harry Maguire or whatever. I mean, Christ, it's football and it's great football, and it was a great atmosphere, and and I think what I like about Barca is because if you were United, we could do that. We could be like that. We're going to need a lot more investment. We're going to need a bigger squad. We're going to need to start winning things to attract more players. But that idea of loud and proud support, a la, an actual football team versus, City, where's my drum? Or Arsenal, you've got one song, one word, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter how many who are you playing in the Emirates? You could pay people to arrive to go there and they get 5,000 attendance because they treat it like a primary school assembly rather than a football match. At the end of the day, and that's why I like Barca. Barca is like the cooler, older sister that's showing us how to do it. You know what I mean? And we will get there. I'm sure we will get there. And also, I mean, 20,000 post-COVID isn't too bad over here, especially considering, as I've said in other places, that we are, we're playing a team that's in a park that plays in a park. Remember, we are playing a team that struggles to get more than a big people full of fans to arrive at their stadium. So comparing it to when we were at the Etihad and it was a derby, where City actually turned up, we turned up. It was a hell of a thing for us to get that many, because it was basically over 21,000. I'd say basically there was probably about 30 Everton fans, not including anyone related to the people that were actually playing the game. So I think if we play Liverpool next season, or if we play Arsenal or City next season, I think we'll come pretty close to selling it out.
Yes. You're making a lot of us laugh in the chat.
I know, I don't know how to show this. I will pick up your dad's point as well. Should have saved that for my own show.
Well, yeah, talking about the youth now, because we've got some brilliant youth teams, haven't we?
Yeah, definitely.
Neve Murphy, Kana Solskjaer,
Yeah.
Edwards, Rebecca May. There's so many good talents, but for me, I actually can't see anyone starting and in a starting 11 until next season, in my opinion, if you agree, Ander.
Yeah, and this is it. I mean, I was going to say, just finishing what I was saying about Barca, 8 of the people that were in the squad last night were Catalan, i.e. were from that, literally, not just from Spain, we're literally from that area. It's like having 8 Mancs, essentially, in the squad. So, that again shows the blueprint. We are building a very, very strong youth squad. Tooney's the first graduate of that. I know she didn't come directly from our academy; she went other places. But what I mean is, she's the first player who's gone from squad player in year 1 to world class now. So we have the pathway. So as well as trading, as transfers, we need to bring more youth in. I'd like to see Karis Jones before the end of the season. I think Villa's going to be the most likely to see anybody if we're going to see them, because it's Villa. But I think, next season, we're going to have to start using them. But a lot of them are going to age out, and it might be one of those where we're sort of, biting our fingers, because some of those top devs might end up going over summer just simply because they've just got too old for devs, and then they don't get the space. I and others I know have said that they would prefer like an Emma Hayes situation where everybody gets a contract, at least for the first 6 months or a year, technically as a senior player. So you can keep evaluating them, loan them out before you get rid of them, rather than just this kind of, well, you need to make a big decision now whether or not you're going to go from dev to squad player. And, Karis Jones has made the jump, but then she's been injured and she's not really had the playing time. So we don't really know what stage she's at as she dropped back, as she got better. And I think we need to get some of those, give them a contract, give them 6 months in Sheffield United or whoever next year, and see what they're doing.
Mm-hmm. And whilst I stay on to you as well, Andy, because Reese has had a question for you. From the last 4 games,
tonight, aren't I?
Yeah, from the last 4 games of the season, which one gives you the bigger worry for a possible slip up?
The bigger worry. Well, obviously Chelsea, but in a way, Chelsea's so dangerous. I'm not even worried. In this, I can see the firing squad already. That is going to be so tough. So you want to say worry as in like, what do I think? Where I could go in there thinking we're going to win, and oh crap, we've messed it up. I would say West Ham, because of what happened at their place. I think that, and also, it's like anything, isn't it? When we get to West Ham, if we win on Sunday and we win against Villa, you can start seeing it now. Great, I just need to win this, and then we'll know the situation a bit better with the third place. It ratchets up the pressure to an extent. When we go into Chelsea, if we have to win Chelsea, then it is just like an FA Cup. It's like an FA Cup final. You just need to win the game. But we could be in a situation where we want, if we win against West Ham, we maybe don't need a win and just need to draw against Chelsea or something like that. So I see that being the problematic game. I'll ask the same question for you there, Maisy, and then Chloe, I reckon.
Yeah, for me, I'd probably say the biggest worry is going to be Chelsea. And the only reason why I do feel like for me with Chelsea, because when you look at that West Ham game away, what was our game in hand? That game for me, we should have ideally picked up 3 points to try and stay into the top three as best as possible. And we do know the kind of team that Chelsea do currently have. So, but I'm hoping in a way that as much as I don't want this, I wouldn't mind Chelsea going through to the FA Cup final, and then they'll play maybe a weakened team against us. So then we could be like, bye. And then we can just, maybe we might put 9 past them, but but I even see West Ham as a bit of a threat just because of how physical they are. Especially if we are going to be out of players again, because we know Diane is out currently. I don't know if she's going to be out for Brighton, but depending on the situation of the squad, she is, which is a big blow as well. We've only got one available centre back, so if that is going to continue moving forward to the West Ham game, knowing the physicality of West Ham, I will probably even see them as a potential slip up as well, in my opinion. But Chloe, what about you?
I think all 4 games are going to be tough, but I think the ones that I'm gonna say is because we're gonna go in there and we think we win, but there's always that chance of slip ups. So West Ham having that going into 1-0 until the 88th minute and then letting them equalise, that's going to be in your back of your mind, because it's not been long played since we played them. But then the easy one that we can say is Chelsea.
Yeah.
But I think Brighton could be one where it's going to be a tough game, because the way Hope Powell plays is a way that she's always played since she managed England. And she has changed the tactics, she has changed the way she plays, the skills, but she hasn't at the same time. She knows the game, and she knows Matt Skinner, because she's played against him numerous times, and she's asked him for help with the players for England squads. So she will know tactics of Mark's, and I think Brighton and West Ham are going to be the 2 that are going to worry me, but I do think we'll win them both.
Richard said here, make sure you smash the like button as hard as United are going to smash Brighton at the weekend. I had to highlight that comment. It was one of my favourite comments in the chat, so thank you, Rich. It made me laugh. But Reese has got a question here, which I'll go to with Chloe first. Considering how long Lyon dominated the Women's Champions League, do you see Barcelona eclipsing it?
Yes. Simple answer. The Barca that they've currently got is incredible. The Barca B that they're using in the academy and that they're bringing through is even better. They're even better. You don't see them that they sign contracts, full-time contracts as a senior player, but they have signed that contract to play for Barca B, and Jonathan, the manager, he's helping them up into the ranks. He's not even going to the games. He's just literally being told by the manager of Barca B, or watching videos on his tablet from their games and being like, right, I want these players. So for me, Barca is going to keep going. And I think if we can have an academy like Barca has, where we promote players without giving them contracts and get them into the first team. So for me, I'll go back to the question about the youth squad just for a sec, Maisy.
Of course.
I think Rebecca May, she's one of the oldest players for our youth team, for our development squad. And I think if she doesn't get offered a contract to come up to the first team, she's going to go next season or even the season after. We need to nail her down even if it's that we get her a contract and we send her out on loan. She's probably one of our best under-21 players that we have got, alongside Poppy Lawson, who I think, again, we need to get a contract down. Great centre-back and can definitely push through for the first team. So if we can do that as Barca have done, then we can do what Barca's doing. But yeah, I think Barca can eclipse it, especially with the way they're playing and especially with the manager and the formation and the players they're bringing in. So yeah, for me, it's a yeah. Andy?
Yeah, I mean, I think, they're weird because it's the first time this season that I watched them on a regular basis. I've seen a bit of them in the Prima. Yeah, I'm going to try and do the Spanish pronunciation of the Spanish league. Then I'm going to put on a bottle of that now because I just kind of butcher it. So the women, their version of the WSL, the women's Prima Femadora. There you go. I had to go at messing it up, and they do, but they win a lot of games because they're Barcelona. Because as I said before, most of their opposition gets one attempt on goal at one point, and then they just bottle it. But the interesting thing about Real Madrid, the last two games, obviously in the Champions League, they've actually capitalized on the opportunities, and then they got rattled. Barca got rattled. It sounded like an impossible statement to make. Even the beginning part of the game yesterday, even though it finished what it finished 5-2, they were wobbling a bit. And it's funny, I've seen other people sort of compare us to Real Madrid in the women's game because they've just started this season properly. I know they bought out an existing Spanish team, so maybe they are the plucky underdog, and in a couple of years they'll be pushing them. I mean, but I think ultimately they're going to be there and thereabouts, at least at quarter-final stage for the next 10-15 years. But I would actually, as much as Clay might want to kill me here, I would actually like to see some of their other teams in the Spanish league catch up a little bit. I think it'd be great to have, like it was last night, an El Clasico where technically each team, either team could win. Whereas I think a lot of games with Barcelona, it's a little bit like with the men's, it's a little bit like the Scottish Premiership. It's either Rangers or Celtic, and there's a big drop. And I think, one of the things that we're lucky with over here, the WSL, is that you can definitely say now that we've arrived. So there is definitely, two teams that could realistically win the league, and at least 4 to 5 teams that could get top 3. And that actually puts us in a much stronger position than a lot of leagues in Europe.
And I'll just jump on what Andy was saying as well. Like the teams for Barcelona in the Spanish league, like you've got Atletico Madrid, who they've not had the best season, but they're still third, and they were challenging for the title a couple of years back, but they've had a change of manager. And is that different? Like, does that bring in different concepts? Like, they were challenging for the top 2 a couple of years ago, and now they're only just getting in third spot. Real Sociedad are the nearest to Barca, and last season they weren't even in the top. They were like 6th or 5th or 6th. They've grown a lot, Real Sociedad, and I think it'll be a big positive outlook for them if they can get Champions League spot, because you'd expect you Atletico Madrid, you Real Madrid, your Tenerife, your Valencia, all the big names that are associated with the men's side to be up there. Real Sociedad in the men's team isn't up big at the minute, but they are becoming that. And it's going to be the same for the women's. So I agree with Andy. There needs to be more competition for Barca. There really does. But it's the development, it's the investments within all them other squads that Barcelona are getting, whereas other squads aren't even getting. They're not getting the money to bring in them top players, and then the top players, the top managers, they're not bringing in them. And I think that's where it's going wrong for a lot of teams, not just in Spain, but also in other leagues. Because you only, like, for us, we've got a good league where it's a lot of us that are challenging for the title and them 3 spots. But you only rarely hear in the French league, for example, PSG and Lyon.
Yeah.
They're the only two teams you hear in that league. And in the Italian league, you only hear Roma, Milan, and Juventus. So I think more investments into the lower ranked teams will be good for the leagues to build up and for more competition for the bigger teams, in my opinion.
You could even say about Wolfsburg, Wolfsburg, Bayern Munich are the only teams you can hear from Germany as well. But a few more people did enter the chat as well. Hello to Andrew. Hello there to Delboy. Hello to Just Me. And hello to Static and Paul. I hope you're well. Here was a very nice, juicy question here off Rich. I'm sure we're going to have a good field day about this one. Our least favourite women's teams. And I'll go with you, Andy, on these ones first.
Actually, I missed the first bit of that. I was focusing on the rivalries question. Who are your least favourite women's teams? Those that don't support their players. That is the ultimate answer. You go to Reading, quiet as a mouse. And actually, they go further. They start bollocking you for making noise. We were actually being told off for being too loud, which is utterly, it's one of those things where, if you hadn't been there, you wouldn't believe it. It's ridiculous. My least favorite is, I would say, it's it's funny because I'll break the question down briefly. The who are my least favorite women's teams and who are my least favorite women's fans, because actually sometimes there are differences. City fans, all the stereotypes from the men's are true. They're bitter as hell, and they're even worse in WOSO because they believe that they're morally superior to everybody. So we're just like a bunch of heathens that have come around and ruined their little teddy bear's picnic. But I can see that that the team, that the games, they have got some good players. I could say that, so I mean there's a bit of a disconnect there. But yeah, least favorite women's teams definitely City, Reading, because they're basically dirty when they get bored, and I'm not a massive fan of Chelsea. But that's just more jealousy because obviously the position that they're in. Are the rivalries the same as the men's? We're trying, we're getting there. I think there's a bit of a culture difference, as I've alluded to, with different teams. There's a sort of dying off phase where people look wistfully at the days where women's football was something that you required an A-level in something to try and find on your system. It was on channel 949 and you had to click 5 buttons to find the game. That was the days that these people loved, the one man and his dog. We don't want football culture coming in and ruining it, and there's a few of them still around. But I think one of the great things about last night is that last night was a fantastic game, but it was a fantastic rivalry and atmosphere. And I do think, and I've said this since we arrived in women's football, that United are leading the way, especially in the UK, and we are bringing that atmosphere. And where we lead, others are following. Chelsea even nick our chance. That's fine. I can hear Blue Army all day, but we'll just charge you for royalties later. Arsenal chant a little bit more than they used to. Villa chant a little bit more than they used to. Obviously in Europe you've got a PSG that have gone a little bit too far with some of their ultras previously, and brought in some of the more negative areas of the men's game there. But we are there. I would say there's probably a 70-30% split now within football in Europe and in the UK. 70% of those rivalries that you could reel off in the men's the same as the women's. United, Liverpool, Arsenal, Spurs, the various, Barcelona, Real Madrid, they all still match. But there is still about 30% where nobody turns up and they play in a park, Everton, for example, or the lower level teams. And for us, I just want to bring it forward and get everyone going to the point where, we get more and more fans that are passionate about football coming over or coming into the game, because they didn't necessarily have to come from the men's. It can just come fresh blood into the game and give the support that the players deserve. And as Chloe was mentioning for Spain, it's even worse than it is over here, because there's a couple of teams, at least one team that I know in Spain, that doesn't even have physios employed on their squad. Well, how does that work? Well, one of their players gets injured, the opposing physio has to treat them, which I think that's a dead easy solution to do. What you do is you ban them from playing, and you put a nice negative headline all over the place if you can't be asked paying for physios. But at least we're not that bad. So there are a couple of issues in Spain as well that needs to bring it forward.
Mm-hmm. There is actually a rivalry. What isn't the same as the men's team, but it is. But we've got it in the women's team. This is one what I have noticed. Durham. I feel like there's a rivalry there with us and Durham. I'm not too sure exactly where it's come from, but
yeah. That's true, to be honest. I was just I think I was doing the sales pitch because I know people like, they have a mental, they remember when they watch United men v Liverpool men or whatever, and they want to bring people in. But you're right, there are other rivalries as well. I would probably say, and you might be in a better position to comment on this, Maisy, that United Spurs in the women's is a bit more of a rivalry than it is in the men's because they came up at the same time.
Yeah.
So there's a bit more of a sort of niggle there with the way they play each other. But Durham is a rivalry. No other, really, because they don't have a men's equivalent. They're miserable as sin up there anyway, when we've been there a few times. And they actually were one of the first fan bases, that actually proper kicked off royally and called us thugs and hooligans for chanting in the first away game we did in the Championship. And that's kind of where that came from. And they're very physical and they're very rough, that they're essentially, quite, they'll just take your legs away from you if they can't beat you in legitimate means. So they don't like us. We don't like them. I mean, it goes to the point. I was there for the Conti Cup game this season. And even the stewards didn't like us. It's literally like, it's literally for some reason they hate us. So in a way you could say it's a shame that they're not in the same league as us, because then obviously we could develop that rivalry.
It's
but
the name.
Yeah.
It's the name.
Well, this is it. But the thing is, they're backed by Durham University, but they haven't really got the money. They'll fall on their arse if they got in the WSL. So it will just be cup games. But I suppose in a way, it makes it more special because it is a really, really they're just horrible people, and it's a very difficult game to go to as a fan. Never mind playing.
Mm-hmm. And I'll finish off with the same question for you, Chloe, before we put our score predictions in.
Yeah. So for me, it's more on the rivalries than it is his least favourite, because for me, my least favourite is to do with the rivalries with the men's. So you've got your Liverpool, you've got your Evertons, you've got your Cities, and you've got your Chelsea and your Arsenals. And I think, I agree with you both, Tottenham is definitely a rivalry that you don't see in the men's game. I think they came up at, like you said, they came up at the same time as us. They're wanting to better us, and they always have, because they finished second behind us. And I think it's always going to be like that, and that's what we like. We like that competition, but I think the rivalry is always going to be there with your Cities and your Chelseas and your Tottenhams and your Arsenals. And for me, if anything for next season, I want Liverpool to come up.
Yeah.
I really do, because I think if we could have that atmosphere with the Liverpool fans back in the stadiums, whether it be LSV, whether it be Old Trafford, Anfield, and I can't remember where Liverpool play, but where, if we could have that Brenton Park, yeah, if we could have them rivalries there, like we did in our first season, that's just going to be massive. And I think as well, Old Trafford with Manchester United and Liverpool, that would be the icing on the cake for me. Old Trafford, Manchester United, Liverpool. Yeah. That for me is the rivalry, and that's for me is the rivalry that is equal to the men's as well as City.
I mean, to answer Rich's question, yes, they do have a women's team.
They're in tier 3.
Tier 3. I'm not sure if they're near coming up. It's very difficult to come up from tier 3. It's split north and south, and the winner of National League North has to play South, and the winner of that playoff game gets to go up, which is stupid. So you could win every game in the North or the South and lose one game against your opposing number for North or South, and then you don't go up. So that needs to be rectified. Yeah. But I and Burnley are also tier 3 now as well.
Yeah.
But I've also heard about this Leeds rivalry that apparently makes Liverpool look like a teddy bear's picnic. But yeah, unfortunately, we might be a few years away from that. Just to quickly finish, I know we're running out of time, but just to quickly finish on Liverpool. My experience of them in the WSL, they've got a bit of a whiff of the City fan when it comes to Woso. They got very offended with certain, traditional chants that we did, like "Where's my car stereo" and stuff like that was done. So I'll be interested to see now, a few years later, if they will give as good as they get. If it was at Old Trafford, but you would hope, as you say, that they would. And yeah, I'd love to send them down next season if they did come up.
Well, I'd love to send them down because I don't think Liverpool really fund their women's team, in my opinion. But thank you very much, Vincent, for the compliment. It does mean a lot. So let's do our score predictions. I'm actually going to go for a 3-0 for Manchester United. I think we're going to keep a clean sheet. We've got the best goalkeeper in the league. I'm confident. And I think Bo Risa needs to start. She really does need to start, in my opinion. Bruni needs to start. But I think it's going to be 3-0 for Man United. What do you think, Chloe?
I'm going to go 4-0. I'm going to go clean sheet for Mary Earps, Brun to start, Bo Risa to start, and a Katie Zellum corner goal.
Oh,
lovely. Andy, what are you going to go with?
Oh, I'm just thinking of all the different days I could have on Sunday. I think let's go. Let's go for 3-1. I just worry about our ability to keep a clean sheet at the moment. I love Mary to death. I also, for some reason, think we might get a penalty again, just because we seem to be getting penalties now, which is great. That's cool. I'll take that. So probably if it's a penalty, it'd be Zalem because she's our penalty taker. Yeah, hopefully Brun can get a goal, and maybe for the third goal, let's say Honor, maybe, and a nice little long ranger, so she could sort of try and do what the rest of the Spanish did last night for Barca.
Yes, definitely. And hello there to John. Thank you for tuning in, and I will have a lovely holiday. Nice break away. 2 breaks actually away in 19 days.
We're gonna miss you.
Miss you, Maze.
Yeah,
I'll miss you both. Not gonna see you properly for 19 days, but we're all meeting up for Villa, which is a great thing. Let's end it here now. Everyone did put a score prediction in. Lowest score was actually a 3 for us to score, so that was pretty good. So we're minimum scoring 3 goals. I love the positivity from you all, and we'll end it here. Thank you so much, Chloe. Where can we find you?
You can find me at Chloe Riley 14 on Twitter, and thank you for having me, Maisy. Enjoy your holiday and have a great time.
Thank you so much. Andy, where can we find you? And thank you for having me on.
I was going to say, I
feel like I'm back on Only One United.
You need food, Maisy.
As she's obviously pointed out, you'll see me on Only One United tomorrow night. Normally at 7. Normally it would be with Maisy, but she's jetting away on holiday, which is fab for her. I'm really pleased for her. We got a good lineup as well. So we'll be seeing that on a Friday night. But obviously my personal Twitter page, which is at AJO_87 as well.
Yeah, and Vincent's coming to the Aston Villa game, so we may potentially see Vincent there as well. Good to see you there, Vincent, if we do see you, and hello there to Robert as well. Thank you for tuning in. I won't be live now for a few weeks, so it's a goodbye from me. Everyone enjoy your next couple of weeks. Enjoy your football on the weekend for the men's. Try not to be too disappointed. But yeah, if you're new, hit that subscribe button and smash the like button. We'll see you all very, very soon. Goodbye for now.
Bye.